Hello everyone, it's Justine. Today I'm going to be making a beautiful card with the Camellia flower, and I did just have to look up how to pronounce this correctly because I wasn't quite sure. It was Camellia. Here we are. Here's what Google says. Are you ready?
Camellia.
So that's what we're going with. Apparently Google knows it all. Anywho, this is what the flower looks like. I am really excited to make a different version of this flower, so stay tuned for that. I am going to be using, the die itself is from Spellbinders, and the collection is from Susan Tierney Cockburn. So if you're interested, I will have the die linked in the description, and let's just talk about assembly. So the die itself is just wonderful because it has numbers on it. You can see it faintly here maybe, but it tells you how many to cut out. So this one says 3. You can see it right there. 2 of these, and 2 to 3 of the leaves. So that makes it super easy. Now, how I'm going to switch up this flower is I'm going to be putting the marker on the edges. Now this has the marker going from the centers going up and out, but I wanted to see what it would look like if I just did some coloring on the edges. So let's just give it a go, and we'll see what version I like best, and that's the one that I will go with. Now I am not going to be doing a careful color, just kind of going around the edge like so. I am using Copic markers, and it is Red Violet 09. Sometimes with the realistic flowers like this from Spellbinders and Susan Tierney Cockburn, I do like using white cardstock and adding my own colors to that, but today I am going to start with pink and add some colors myself, just for fun. I am using a little bit of plastic that I probably would have thrown away, but I am using that as just a little saver for my mat here so it doesn't get covered in marker. Now that the flower is all colored up, I will use the toolkit to give the flower some dimension. This is just so pretty. I love the color, how bright it is. Anyway, okay, so for this one I am going to use the big ball and the little ball again, but mostly the big ball. It is my favorite part of the toolkit. I'm just going to give it a quick round in the middle, and then I will flip it over and turn and just curve the petals downward again. This is just to make the flower look a little more realistic. Now, if you want to make realistic flowers but you don't have the toolkit, or maybe the toolkit's not in your budget, you could use the meaty part of your hand. I'll show you how I do that with the next petal. There's the first one. But you could use the squishy part of your hand here, like so. You could use a mouse pad. People have mentioned that in my Facebook group that they use a mouse pad, and that works as well. I just don't find that I have as much control when I use my hand as I do with the foam pad, but again, I wouldn't have the ball either, so I suppose to give you a more realistic version I'll show you with a different tool, but you can see it's definitely a little more awkward and clunky, and it doesn't give quite the same look as you would get if you were using the ball and the foam pad. But, you know, it's up to you. So you can see the difference there. This one has more of a softed, rounder petals, and this one is a little more like a bent, crooked look. I actually am not really digging that, so I'm going to use my ball and hopefully round off those edges and make them a little softer again. Anyway, I will just repeat this process for all of my petals. I'm going to do the same thing with all of the sizes, going on the back, on the edges, just back and forth and kind of rounding them out. And then once I do all 4 petals on each piece like this, I will then flip it over and just give it a little bit of a rounded dimension in the middle. Now, when I come to the middle pieces, I am not going to be rounding the backs because I want this part to have more of a vertical dimension. So I am just rounding the center like so. I might even use this little ball just so it is even more dimension there. Now, I have not decided if I wanted to put a gem in the center of these flowers, but we'll see once this one is constructed. And I really just wanted to construct these flowers differently because I wanted to see what it would look like when I use the different coloring techniques on this card. So we'll see what it looks like. To put my flower together, I'm just using the clear acetate on the back here and some liquid glue and just rotating the petals, going different directions so it looks a little more realistic and not too perfect. I don't know a whole lot about flowers, but this one does kind of remind me of a carnation as well, so that's kind of pretty. And I wish I was more knowledgeable about flowers, but it's just not really like a big interest for me. Surprise, surprise, card making is a big interest for me, so whatever. I guess I'll just spend my time working on flower cards. Now, this collection that she has is just really neat. I just finished making the Magnolia card, which is just stunning. So there's the Magnolia, there's the lavender with the mason jar, and that's really cool. The mason jar is really big. I mean, not too big, but it's big, it's pretty big. So I right now have die cutted that out with some vellum, and I hope to make some vellum mason jar cards, but I haven't made a video with the mason jar yet. But I will have a lavender card going up, and I will also have a Southern Magnolia card as well. Okay, looking at the 2 different coloring techniques, I think that I like this one a little bit better just because it looks a little more realistic. I don't know, which one do you like better? Let me know in the comments, and I guess by the time I read them it'll be too late, but I will use both of them just on different projects. But I think I'm going to use this one on the card today just because I like it better, and you know, you make what you like. So anyway, for my whole card here, I have some pink cardstock and then some light pink cardstock. And then I use the embossing folder of the month from February. This was a 3D one on the background. And then I have a scrap of some pattern paper here from an old card kit from Spellbinders that I'm just going to put right there. And, you know, it's not the exact flower that I'm working with here today, but it has the same colors, so to me it works. I'm pretty certain that this is a Stampendous stamp, but I will double check and I will link the stamp in the description. But I think that it is so sweet and perfect for a card like this, because if you're going to go through the work of making a realistic card, a realistic flower on a card, it should go to someone who's very special. Okay, so now that I have that on there, I'm going to put the big flower on the top, right about there. I'll just glue down the flower just in the middle so I can still sneak the leaves under it. I'm going to be pretty generous with the glue since this is a heavier piece. Oh, look, a starfish. Okay. And I'm going to grab my reverse tweezers and just kind of eyeball the placement. I think I'm going to put it down a little lower than I expected. Right about there. Okay, now time for the leaves. Oh, I forgot to round off the 2 leaves. Anywho, let's just quick round off the leaves. I have 2 of them done, but I'll show you what I do here. It's kind of like the flowers on the base. I round it face up, and then I flip them over, and I will, sorry, my neighbor's dog is barking. I don't know if that's going to pick up on the camera, but they have a Saint Bernard. We'll just put it that way. Oh, the joys of living in town. Anyway, my leaf, I rounded it face up going this way, face down, so the leaf has a little bit of life as well. Just snake the leaves under, kind of where they go, right about there. Anyway, I do think that I am going to put a gem in the center of this just because I think that that would kind of finish off the card. I'm going to use this old gem. Now, I guess old is a relative term. I think it's about a year old at this point, but I'm going to use this peach one. I love the Spellbinders gems because they are self-adhesive and you just pop them right on and you're good to go. So I always try to keep them on hand at my desk so when I need a gem, I have it ready for me. I'm going to put some extra ones on the card too, just because I love a blingy card, and since this card has dimension, like pretty high dimension already, I am going to add some of the bigger ones because why not? Put 2 there and maybe 1 on the other side. I'll use a medium one. Right about there. Now the last thing this card needs is some Wink of Stella shimmer pen. I am using the clear glitter one, and I'm just going to put it all over the petals. And I really think that anytime I use Wink of Stella, it just helps the light just glisten on it even more, and it's just so pretty. Oh dear, we have a little air bubble. And I think this is a water-based pen. I could be wrong, but maybe it's an, no, I think it is an alcohol-based pen. So it does dry pretty quickly, and it just packs such a punch. If you're interested in seeing other videos that I made with the Realistic Flowers by Susan Tierney Cockburn, go ahead and check out my channel. I will be posting those throughout the month of March. You can see the dimension is pretty big there, but it is not as big as the Magnolia. The Magnolia goes to about here. So check out that video if you're interested in seeing all of the dimension on that one as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope you get to craft soon. We'll see you in my next video. Bye!